Well, we now have the penultimate episode of Amazon's The Rings of Power, this amazing, groundbreaking show that cannot be improved in any way because it is just perfect. It is perfection. It's so perfect that everything is pointless. That's what this show has been. So pointless, and this is the most pointless episode. Most pointless episode in a pointless show. Really not surprised at this point, are we, that we spend over an hour, because most of these episodes are over an hour, way too long. A lot of them could be brought down to about 1 minute 30 seconds. That's how little happens in these episodes. And this is just, for me, this is just the worst one. I've never seen this where so many words are said. Yet, you know, things are being said, but nothing, not really. They're not really saying anything. It's just meandering, pointless lines that don't get them anywhere. Don't get the characters anywhere. Don't push the plot forward. Literally do nothing but waste time. And that is because the writers, the so-called writers, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, who just recently called us evil, by the way, just so you know, for not liking the show, for criticising the show because it is terrible. Well, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay aren't very good at their jobs. They should be sacked because they are shit. You know, just, you know, you have to keep pointing out. In the real world, generally, if you put out shit, whatever job it is, you get fired. That's what happens. And that's what needs to happen to J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, because they're shit. They are shit. There's no other way around it. There's a reason why nothing has happened in this series. That's because as soon as they do try and do something, it's going to be shit. They know it's going to be shit. That's why we've spent almost an entire season, about close to 9 hours. 9 hours of material that is nothing more than content. That's all it is. It's just looking at the screen. You'd be better off watching the screen blank. You really would be better off doing that. But as we know, finishing off from the last episode, everybody died from a pyroclastic flow. So that's the end of the series right there. Everybody's dead. And I have no tears to shed about that. But that's what happened at the end of episode 6, is everyone died. There's no excuses. There's no defending this. They are dead. They are dead. But of course, with it being modern writing, they're all still alive. If we have a look at the little screen. Oh, she's alive. She's alive. Somehow. From a pyroclastic flow. How did that happen, do you ask? The writers are fucking retarded. That's how that happened. So everything is burning. You have people that have been burnt to a crisp. Trees are burnt. Houses are burnt down. Yet all our main characters, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Now, if that isn't plot armor, I don't know what is. Because, no, they should all be dead. So already, the episode's over. The show's over. They're all dead. You can't survive this. And you can't have some people burnt to a crisp, yet our main characters are perfectly fine. No, they're all dead. They're all dead. It's the end of the show. It's the end of the review. See you next time. That's really what this should be. Because, no, they're all dead. They're all dead. I don't know why you would show. You can't just selectively, because your main characters, you can't just selectively go, oh, well, some are burnt to a crisp, but some aren't. Very strange, but yeah, they decide to make sure you believe that Galadriel, now that's alive, they have buildings burnt down. They have horses running about fucking burnt. They have burnt corpses. Yet Galadriel, nah, she's fine. Main character, you see, so she has plot armor. Unbelievable. So, yeah, look at this place. You're trying to tell me, oh no, Galadriel survived that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. But the writers, as we pointed out, are dumb as a bag of rocks. They really are. They've got nothing. They've got nothing to offer. Nothing to offer in the world of writing. I would recommend go and work in a factory. That would be more suited to your skill set. If you can't even understand that a pyroclastic flow kills people. Can't understand it, you see? Just can't understand it. But it's fine. Some people will just say, oh, well, it's a fantasy, so it doesn't have to make sense. Doesn't have to make sense. You know, some people are that way. Dumb as a bag of rocks as well. But of course, you have Theo shouting, "Mother, mother." Then he's fine as well, because he's a main character. He's fine. All those other roasted people laying about, they're just side characters and extras. Our main characters, though, nothing's happened to them, of course. So she finds Theo, and they go walking off. Don't look for anybody. Don't try and help anybody. Just fuck off into the woods, as you do when you're Galadriel. But everybody should be dead. That's the end of the story, really. Isildur is fine. Miriel is fine. They're both trying to get his friend out. His other friend's dead. You know, the one that made such an impact that I so give a fuck. You know, that one. So he's dead. Then the Queen Regent, rather than being the Queen Regent, decides to start helping people. You've got guards there. You've got people there to do that, but you've went in there because you're so heroic. So Isildur's holding that. She takes her time getting out. Of course she does. And it all falls on him. And we know, you know, first of all, we already know he's not dead because you can't kill him off anyway. But an entire burning house has just fell on top of him. If he isn't crushed, he's burnt alive. So he's dead, but I have a prediction on what's going to happen, and we'll eventually get to that. I think they're just going to rip off Peter Jackson trilogy again. You know, like they've done so many times, except they've done it the retarded way. As you do when you're J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. So he's dead. He should be dead. There's no way around this. They should already all be dead anyway. But just from that, it's like, no, you're dead, mate. You're dead. You're not coming back from the dead. But I'll just tell you my prediction now. I think his horse is going to run back in the Mordor and fucking do like they did with Aragorn in The Two Towers. Where he falls off the mountain and then his horse wakes him up. That's what they're going to do in this. I guarantee it. It's so obvious. But now, well, just so you know, just to warn you, we have a lot of Harfoot stuff in here that is a waste of fucking time, because the Harfoots are a waste of time. Waste of time. Evil. Let them die. That's what I say. That is my motto when it comes to the Harfoots, because they are evil, as has been shown. Except this time, they just completely contradict what they've been shown as. That's the same for a lot of characters in this episode. They're all of a sudden doing the opposite to what they've already done, and there's not really a reason for it. But you've got a fat friend going up there, and they come to a bit where some of the molten rock, whatever it is, has smashed into it, like down here. So all the trees are ruined, all the apples are ruined. So I don't know how far away this is from the Southlands. Dunno, but they're somehow here. So Sadok Brown, I believe that's his name, isn't it? Sadok. Well, first of all, they're all like picking apples as well. Like, all the apples are like burnt. Like they're not apples anymore. They're just burnt things, but they're picking them. Don't know why that is. So Sadok says that volcanoes only wake when a new evil is rising. What, you mean the Harfoots? I guess that's what he means. So yeah, they're picking these apples. It's like, why? They're dead. They're dead apples. You picking them's doing nothing. I don't see the point in that. But they are anyway. Then Gandalf oh, sorry, not Gandalf, is up at this tree doing something with it. Sadok wants Nori to go and ask him to fix it, even though the last episode he was being blamed because there wasn't any mushrooms. So they want his help now, after wanting to get rid of him. The fat friend says he's already done enough, but Sadok's like, fuck that, he's going to do everything for us, because we're just going to take and give very little. So he's up here healing the tree, it looks like, saying words. So they're all just watching him. Then this dumb fucking... I don't see, at this point, I don't even know if this is a boy or a girl. I don't know if it's Nori's sister or brother. I don't know. I can't tell. I really can't. I thought it was a boy. And then I heard people saying, oh, Nori's sister. I'm like, Nori's sister? I don't know. It just looked like a little boy to me. So that little twat starts walking toward... As we know, as Nori should know, don't go near the wizard when he's doing things, because you might put yourself in harm's way. And it's your own fault, except this time they try and blame Gandalf. Try and blame him for it. It's like, no, the stupid little twatty kid walked under the tree. So, starts walking towards it, and the tree falls. The one funny thing I found about this is when Nori went to rescue her sister/brother, whatever it is, she just rolls into it. Look, you've done nothing, Nori. Why did you do that? Why? Why did you not go back the way? Why? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why you go, oh, I'm gonna try and save you, but we're actually gonna dive under the tree, rather than me pulling you out the way. Whatever then. So the tree falls on them. It kills them. No, of course it doesn't. But they all start looking at him like, no, it's not his fault. You stupid twatty kid. You didn't parent him enough, so he walked towards the wizard when you know it could be dangerous. So it's not his fault. No, it's your kid's fault. It's Nori's fault. It's all your fault. But they start blaming him for it. Of course they do. What am I missing anything? No, that's about that scene. They just look at him. And now we're off to the such great stuff, which eventually we get to a 15-minute section of this show, whatever it is. I don't even know what to call it at this point. Where they spend about 15 minutes and it does fuck all. It does nothing. But this is, of course, we're trying to convince King Durin the Fourth's dad. We're trying to convince him to let us mine the mithril to save the elves. Because now, I still think it's dumb as shit that you've made the mithril somehow save elves. You know, the mithril that is used for the likes of armor and stuff like that, because it's very light. That now saves the elves. Of course it does. So Elrond is trying to convince him, not doing a very good job. He says to him, if you offer us this mithril that is so sacred to you, the elves shall offer you something sacred as well. Do you know what the something sacred is? Wood. That's what they went with. That's somehow sacred. So he says something sacred in return. Game, like as in meat, grain, and timber for 5 centuries. How is timber sacred? It isn't, Elrond. You've got nothing. Out of all the stuff the elves have, you go, we'll give you some fucking timber. We'll give you some timber. That's what we do. Unbelievable. I don't know why you're going, oh no, I'll give you some timber for that mithril. So, yeah, he doesn't do a good job at convincing him. The king says, why should I trust any elf? And Elrond says, you shouldn't. You should trust me. Even though in the previous episodes, I completely and utterly betrayed your son, who I called my friend. Betrayed him. Didn't realise I betrayed him, because I'm dumb as fuck as well, because the writers are dumb as fuck as well. You can trust me. because I'm half elven. I'm half elven Elrond. So, no, that's not going to work, Elrond. You need something better. Need something better. I just find it amazing that, you know, the likes of Gil-galad are so desperate for this mithril. They tell Elrond to offer them some wood. Offer them some wood. That's what... offer them some wood. That's how desperate Gil-galad is to stay alive. Again, they try and play this off as, oh, the elves are all going to die. No, they're not. They can just sail across the seas to Valinor, and they're perfectly fine. So this isn't the end of the road for the elves. Just go back there. You can still visit Middle-earth. It's just if you stay long periods of times, I don't know, you go ghostly, whatever it is. So you're not going to die anyway. Just go to Valinor. That's all you got to do, Elrond. Just go to Valinor. Or how about we don't make mithril save fucking elves? How about we don't do that? So Elrond's got nothing. The king says, I want to talk to my son alone. And his reasoning is, let me see. Yeah, it's basically King Durin doesn't want to risk any dwarven lives by delving too deep into the mountain. He says this is just the elves' fate, and for us to get involved, that may be the end of our kingdom or something like that. Don't know where he's getting that from. I don't know. He thinks they'd be messing with someone's master plan, whatever it is. So he's like, no. It's like you might as well just said, I don't want to risk dwarven lives going into those mines. That would have been good enough. But then you make it about, oh well, something may happen someday. So his answer's no. Durin's like, so I have to sentence my friends to death because you're scared of rocks falling. So you're quite happy if people die then, Durin, are you? Just saving some elves that could just go back to Valinor. That's all they got to do. So it's already broken, this story. I say. It's already broken because they can just go to Valinor and they live. That's all they have to do. They're not going to die. And even if they are dying, it's going to be a long time till they do. So then Durin goes and speaks to his wife, and she completely changes characters. Not even the same person anymore. But we'll talk about that a bit more by the end of the episode. She goes all Sith Lord. She goes all fucking Palpatine. That's what, you know, desperate for power. But she's slamming things, saying, your dad's a twat. She says, we should just dig anyway and show the other dwarven lords, that it's safe to mine. We should just do it anyway, even though the king, the ruler of the place, has said, do not fucking do that. Said don't do that, so why you would go, no, just go against his word, fuck him. But Durin says, you know, what message would that send to our kids by treating the king's words as just being nothing? That doesn't really mean anything later on, because the whole episode is them flip-flopping on whether they're going to dig or not dig. That goes on for way too long if you ask me. Just go and dig for it or don't dig for it. You don't need to go back and forth. So there's that shit. Then Elrond comes to see them. He's all upset. They basically talk about... they don't really say anything. It's basically... And soon he will no longer be a king, for there will be no longer be a Lindon, because the elves are all going to die, even though I can just go back to Valinor and I'll live. That's all you have to do. So they basically just say goodbye, and that goes on for 4 minutes or something. So he gives Durin back the mithril, and he just so luckily throws the mithril right next to the leaf from Lindon that has all the black shit on it, and it just cures it. Now, you kind of need to show a bit more of this. So, all you have to do you have to just put mithril next to an elf and then they'll be healed then and there? Or do you have to constantly be surrounded by it? If Durin takes away the mithril, does the black stuff come back on the leaf? I don't know. I don't know. From what we've been shown, I just have to assume that, no, you just put this piece of mithril next to the tree and it will heal, and then we're done. So I guess that's what happens. But he just so luckily throws that right next to there. And then he screams Elrond back in. He does a bit of crying as well. That's one thing I've noticed in this show. Is there any way we can get some actual men in the fucking show? Can we do that? No. Do we have to have teary-eyed, crying little pussies that we'll get to Durin and Elrond, but it seems like they're about to get in a relationship. So then we have more pointless shit with Galadriel and Theo. But by the way, see, at this point in the episode, does anybody know what place this is? Do you know? There's a reason I bring that up now, because by the end of the episode, we get something explained to us that we all fucking know. We all know what this place is now called, don't we? Well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. So they're sitting here, they're watching orcs. Theo's like, we got to go and kill them. I'm going to go and kill them. It's like, no, you're one guy. You got no experience, my darling. You got no experience. But he's just like, I'm going to run in and kill them. He tries to take Galadriel's sword. And then Galadriel says, no, we're not doing that. I think that's pretty much that scene. I think Galadriel blames herself for this happening. I'm like, it's really all your fault. It's everybody's fault. Mainly because, remember that sword? You didn't check the package that Adar had to make sure it had the sword in it. So that's, you know, everybody's just dumb in this show. We all know that. We all know they're just dumb as shit. But Galadriel's, of course, making it about herself, as you do when you're a narcissist. So now I think now we've got all the people that should be dead. Everybody should be dead. Watching them all come through, Elendil notices Isildur's horse. Hasn't got him on it. Then Queen Miriel comes back. Oh, and by the way, she's now blind. She's now blind. You know, I didn't even notice till it was pointed out, to be honest, because we've seen her have this look on her face so many times, because that's the level of acting in this show. But she's now gone blind. So she gets on the... Wait, yeah, Elendil finds out about Isildur, what happened to him. So he's a bit upset about that. And then we go back to Theo and Galadriel. Some top tier dialogue, it really is. Like Theo's saying, oh, they're all dead, aren't they? Everybody's dead. It's like, yeah, they should be. They should be, but we know because the writers are such hacks that all our main characters are fine. They're all fine. So he's basically trying to figure out, is everybody dead? All that, and Galadriel says, guessing hollows the mind or something like that. You shouldn't fill your mind with guesses. So essentially, she said nothing. She just said, don't guess, even though I guess all the time. I was guessing Sauron was still about. You filled your mind with guesses. Galadriel, you sound a bit like a hypocrite. So the Númenóreans they've got a camp above over the ridge or something like that. She feels the need to say the orcs can travel by daylight now. Like we didn't know that. Like Theo couldn't figure that out. So, yeah, then we get a load of dialogue that's just fucking bollocks. Let me see where we are. So, Theo asks Galadriel, how many orcs have you killed? Galadriel says many, because she's manly. She's killed many, many orcs. Many, many orcs in this show. In this show, anyway. She hasn't really, though. Theo says, good. And then we just get weird dialogue where I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She said, I would not use such words. It darkens the heart to call dark deeds good. How is it? I don't understand how it's a dark deed to kill orcs that are corruptions, that are evil. You can't go the route where they're not all bad. No, from what we've seen, they are. So I don't understand how fighting against evil, we shouldn't call that good, because those are dark deeds. Killing Sauron, that would be a dark deed. Ridding the world of evil is now, that's dark deeds. Very dark deeds. I just find it funny she says that. In the previous episode, she threatened genocide against all the orcs, but now she's going, we shouldn't call dark deeds good, you see? I'm sorry, crazy bitch. I don't know where you're getting this from. The previous episode, you wanted to kill orcs. You were going to torture orcs, pull them out into the sunlight to get information out of Adar. But now you're like, that's dark deeds. It's not dark deeds, though. It's not dark deeds to want to wipe evil off the face of the planet. It's not dark deeds. But according to Galadriel, it now all of a sudden out of nowhere is. She says it gives place for evil to thrive inside us. Because you slayed orcs, Theo said good. That's, all right, I see. She says every war is fought without and within. Every soldier must be mindful. And then Theo says, I'm a soldier then. No, Theo, you're not a fucking soldier. I don't know why you're asking that question. It's like, why would you even... It's like, you know what you are, Theo. You're not a soldier. Just say, I'm a soldier. No, you're not a soldier. Fucking hell. Bit slow, this kid, isn't he? So then I think she gives Theo her sword. Says, we'll make a soldier of you yet, boy. So we're back to the Númenóreans. They're a bit further on. Miriel says, how far till we're beyond the smoke? So then Elendil figures out, oh, you must be blind. Yeah, he says, oh, we passed it about a mile ago. She says, I see. And then Elendil says, do you? Don't know what that's about. So she tells him to keep going. We don't want the people to notice. Why? Why are you like, oh, I don't want people to notice. Don't want them to know that I'm blind. I forgot to show the bit where she got blinded. It was all when the building fell, all the ash stuff, particles, went in her eyes. And she got blinded that way. But yeah, she's all like, I don't want people to know. Later on in the episode, I now have a blindfold around my fucking eyes. So everybody knows. I don't know why at this point you're like, just keep going. We don't want people to know. So they continue off, and now we're back with the Harfoots again. Pointless Harfoots. What would we do without them? Have a more coherent fucking story, that's what. So they're chucking them out the camp now because it was their fault. It was their fault for letting that kid walk towards it. It's not Gandalf's fault. It's not his fault. But they're like, no, we've got to send you off, mate, because two dumb kids walked under the tree. So Sadok is saying, he says, oh, if you just go that way over the hills, there's people there, big folk, and they'll help you find these stars. Because our ancestors haven't come across those stars in thousands of years. And wandering is, you got long legs, but I don't know, a lot of shit. But they're sending them away with the stars. I'm still just like, how does he understand you? Does he understand you? Don't know. So we get a little flower that grows out the tree. That comes up later on. So then he starts just heading off. Nori gives him an apple. And that's about it. And he leaves. So he's going to turn up at the town, go and have a drink and be like, I was fucking stuck with these fucking mental half-wits. They were letting their own people die and everything. They were even advocating for like, to kill off, like, the Brandyfoots. Fucking insane, these people. That's what he's going, he can actually talk. He just didn't want to because these people are fucking mental. So he goes his own way. And then fucking Nori says, "You were right all along, Mother. I should have just left him where he was. I'm just a half-foot. I'll always be a half-foot. First of all, no shit. You can't change species. So, yeah, you will always be a half-foot. But it's just, I'm just a half-foot. I shouldn't have helped him. All that because your dumbass little brother fucking walked under a tree." So now we're back with Theo and Galadriel. And she finally, after 7 episodes, she finally brings up Celeborn, who is in fact dead. Or disappeared. That's what she thinks. This is after Theo asks, "Who have you lost?" Says, "My brother." And then after 7 episodes, she finally brings up her husband, which we know is going to show up anyway. At some point, by some contrived way, he's going to show up. We know that's going to happen because he shouldn't be dead in this. The reason he is dead at the moment is because if Galadriel had a husband, that would take all our agency away. So we have to get rid of her husband. So that's what we're getting with that. That's obvious, but it took you 7 episodes to bring that up. You didn't have any... She talks about him going off to war. I chided him before he went off to war. His armor didn't fit properly. First of all, I don't believe that any elves have armor that didn't fit them properly. Second of all, of course you were chiding him. I reckon how his death is... He probably faked his death to get away from this crazy fucking bitch. That's probably what happened. Probably just thought, I'm not fucking going back there. I'll disappear. I'll go and buy a packet of smokes. Do something like that. I ain't going back to that crazy bitch. That's probably what's happened. Apparently she used to call him her silver clam. So where are we now? But again, after 7 episodes now we're going to bring up my dead husband, which could have been used for some sort of motivation. But no. Couldn't have that. But yeah, she never saw him again after that. So doesn't actually know if he's dead. Didn't want to try and find him. She spent all this time looking for fucking Sauron. Her husband, though. Fuck him. I'm not going to look for him. No. I'm just going to look for Sauron. Just unbelievable. Yeah, she just wanted to... She's a fighter, you see. She's a warrior. Can't go looking for her husband. That would rob her of her agency. So that's all that. And then Theo starts blaming himself for what happened. Don't give a fuck about your home burning down. It is really your fault. Galadriel says, "You did not intend this." So that's pretty much that. And then they repurpose a scene from the Fellowship of the Ring. When the orcs come by, dumbass Theo goes, "I'm going to make a big fucking sound," so they stop by trying to pull a sword out. It's like, what are you going to do? Nothing. So the orcs come by. And if I could just find it. So it's the same as the Fellowship when the Black Rider comes through. It's the same as that. So that's all that was. Then they go off and they say, "Get some sleep. We're leaving at first light." So now we're back to the most pointless shit in the episode. This is the part where I mentioned 15 minutes we spend with the dwarves and accomplish nothing, do nothing. It really just amounts to, we're now digging. Oh, we're not digging. Oh, we're now... That's all it is. That's all anything is. But they finally admit to themselves, they get down and dirty and finally decide to bang. They might as well do that. They really might as well do this. They're clearly gay. Elrond is most certainly gay. Durin is, the way they're looking at each other, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. So this whole part is just pointless, meaningless, unless you're trying to establish that Elrond and Durin now want to fuck. That's the only point in this. It's the only point in this bit that goes on for so long of just nothing. It's basically, oh, dwarves have secret names, you know, that we share with family. We don't find out which secret name is anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that's basically it. They're trying to get through to this mithril. You know, finally, Durin got what he wanted when he said, give me the meat and give it to me raw. Fucking hell. But yeah, this is just a gay scene. That's all it is. It's really just gay as shit. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Again, it goes on for so long. So long, and then until finally they break through, and Durin finally finds the entrance to Elrond's anus. That's what it fucking looks like, anyway. But they found the mithril. He says, Elrond, look at this. Look at this. I've found the entrance to your anus. And it's got all the mithril down there. And then King Durin shows up and says, what the fuck are you doing banging that elf? What are you doing? No, he shows up. He says, you know, seize the elf. So Elrond gets thrown out because his dad is not happy about them banging each other. So he gets flung out. He does the walk of shame because he's so gay. He looks at the mithril, cries a bit. Of course he does, because he's a fucking bitch. So then Durin finally comes out to his dad, says, listen, Dad, I'm gay for Elrond. My whole marriage to Disa was a sham. I want to bang this elf. Dad, please give me your blessing to shove my dick in Elrond. But no, it's basically pointless again. Basically, it can be broken down to King Durin says, when you were a baby, people said you wouldn't make it to the next winter, but I used to look down on your face, and I seen an old king that could move mountains. And then Durin says, how am I supposed to move mountains if... I did write some of this down. Let me see where it is. You suffocate my ambition, desire, any thought of my own. Elrond is my brother, and, you know, we have another questionable line where I'm like, really? He says, Elrond is my brother as if he'd been fired in my own mother's womb. I'm like, you might as well just said, oh, it'd be the same as when you shot your load into my mother. You might as well have said that, because that's what that line is. As if he'd been fired in my own mother's womb. Oh, fucking hell. So then King Durin says, how dare you invoke your mother's name to defend your betrayal of your own kind? It's like, how did he betray his own kind? He betrayed you. I don't know if he'd betray his own kind. And then Durin says, no, you. That's basically what that is. You've been squandering our future so you can cling to the past. All this must have happened off screen, by the way, because we haven't seen any of this. We haven't seen Durin clinging to the past. Don't know anything about this, other than Prince Durin now bringing it up. Now telling us about the king, which we haven't seen because the writers are so shit, they didn't think to do it, because they couldn't. So we just get shit like that where... I'm just going to... Prince Durin, I'm going to tell you what my father's actually like. We're not going to show you any of it, though. That would be work. We'd have to put effort into that. He says, you profane the crown you wear. And then his dad takes off his thing round his neck. So Prince Durin is no longer the prince. He's no longer going to be king. King Durin says, leave that where it is. You don't need it anymore. You know, rather than going behind the king's back to dig for this, you didn't think to maybe talk to him again. You didn't think of any way. It wasn't possible to try and figure out a way to get through to the king. To get through to him like, come on, Dad. Come on. We got to save these people. We got to do good by them. What with the children? Anything. You could have done anything rather than, nah, I'm going to go behind his back. So they're no longer digging for Mithril. So then we have so Gandalf has, like, what he done to the tree has worked. They now have fresh apples. The whole place is sorted. So that all that scene is, we're looking for, we're now getting apples. Fat Sam goes down to collect water. She notices a footprint in the mud. And then a bucket is just left there. She got out of the water without making a splash. Just disappeared. And dropped the bucket. Why did you need to drop the bucket? Oh, that's right. We need to make sure that people know where you are. So we have to have you drop a bucket, even though you weren't in any. You didn't have to drop it. You didn't have to drop it, but you did because we need people to find out where you are. And that is, of course, these nuns. These nuns, which I'm pretty sure they think Gandalf is Sauron. But no, that's Halbrand. So they find this bucket, and then they're like, we're going to go. We're going to go down there. So they notice them up at the tree. They find that little thing. And then apparently the tree is pointing to where he is. It's pointing right. So they know where he's going. They start walking off. And then stupid Nori goes, I'm going to shout out to them. No, he went the exact same way you're going. Ugh. So, yeah, she just tries to say, oh, no, he's going that way. But I'm pretty sure she's just pointing the direction he actually went. So, but they disappear, and then they're behind her. Yeah, and then some of the Harfoots go up to them and said, if you touch a hair on her foot, I don't know what he says, I will brain the lot of you. So she grabs the fire and then blows it onto the Harfoots. The Harfoots' little wagons. Ha ha! Ha ha! You know, that's what you get. Karma's a bitch, ain't it? Karma's a bitch. This is what happens when you leave your own kind to die on mountain passes. When you laugh at them for dying, as we've seen in episode 3 or 4. Don't know what one it was now. So this is what you get. I don't feel sorry for you. Don't feel sorry for you because you've been presented in a light that is not good. You've been presented in a light. What absolute assholes you really are. Evil. Really evil. Which is funny that the showrunners are calling us evil for criticising their terrible show. So they're all crying about their carriages. Haha. Get it up, yeah. So, and now we're back here. So this is just Isildur's horse. Elendil says, you're coming with us. And then he lets the horse go. He lets the horse go, and that's why I say that I know what's going to happen. The horse is going to run back into the Southlands, and he's going to wake up Isildur, and then Isildur's going to ride him back to this camp. That is what's going to happen. I guarantee it. They're doing the same thing like they did with Aragorn. If it hasn't become clear by now, they are trying to repurpose things from Peter Jackson's trilogy because it's actually good, except they, as I say, they do it the stupid way. So I'm pretty sure that's going to happen in the next episode. So, and then Elendil's like, what does he say? I should never have pulled the elf on board. I should have left her where she was. What happened to the sea is always right. And it's like, I still don't, what did Elendil expect? It's like you were going to war. You didn't, first of all, you didn't bring an actual military. You fucked up right there, then and there. You didn't bring a military because somehow Numenor didn't have a military. We sent little boys with no skill. But yeah, I don't know what he expected. It's like you were going off to war, Elendil. People die in a war. You did know that, didn't you? But yeah, I'd say he's right. He should have left that elf in the fucking water so she could drown. You know, if she didn't get left in the water, she would have swam back to Middle-earth. So she turns up to the camp. They're now there. Theo goes looking for his mama. Because, you know, we already knew she was alive. She's a main character. She couldn't possibly die in a pyroclastic flow. Could die from fucking volcano. Just built on absolute bollocks. So, yeah, his mum's there. Galadriel, Anna Rondir's there. Wow, they're alive. I didn't know. I didn't possibly predict that they were all going to be alive because they've all got plot armor. Arondir's got a fucking load of plot armor. So she asks, where is Queen Miriel? Elendil's telling the Queen that now has a fucking whatever over her eyes, even though she didn't want people to know she was blind. It's nothing more than comedy, this show, isn't it? She's just sitting up there like fucking... Unbelievable. So Elendil says we'll be departing in an hour. She says, what of the Southlanders? He says, one garrison will escort them to safety and search for the missing Numenorians. And then Galadriel appears. He tells her, it's Galadriel. Galadriel kneels in front of her, and she's that fucking blind, she doesn't realise they're still in Middle-earth. She says, yeah, when Galadriel kneels, the Queen says, we do not kneel in Numenor. You're not in Numenor. You're that fucking blind. They're actually doing the Anchorman 2 bit, aren't they? Where he's fucking eating nails because it says he's blind. That's what this is, isn't it? That's what you're going for. She doesn't even realise she's still in Middle-earth. And then Galadriel says, you're not in Numenor. We know. Miriel should know that as well. But no, she doesn't. Galadriel says, it's all my fault. It's all about me. It's all my fault that you are here. Elendil says, we're about to depart. Leave this land behind us. He's just angry about losing his son. And then we get, like, Miriel, who's been blind for a day. She can now feel people's emotions by touching their faces in a day. That's not how that works, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. I know you're dumb, but it doesn't work that way. And I mean, it's even funnier that she's doing it on a person that has no emotions. No emotions whatsoever. Miriel says, do not pity me. She says, the Numenorians will return. The people don't know what they've begun. So they're going to return. Then she's shouting at Elendil. Elendil's over here crying like a big fucking bitch. Because there's no men in this show, that's why. That's all the women. That's all the women. They've now taken over that role. So he's crying like a little bitch, as you do. The Harfoots are cleaning up their burnt carriages. Ha 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 ha. I've got to throw that in there. Nori isn't helping. He says, get up and help. And then Sadak comes and says, Brandyfoot, give us time to mourn. What you mean mourn like those people you left on a mountainside? Like those people. Mourn those people that died from getting stung by bees that you laughed at. Those people. So, and then we get the big speech we seen in the trailer. Well, at least part of it. What does he say? First of all, he says, we Harfoots stay true to each other. No, you don't. Harfoot on Mountain Pass. You left him there to die. Didn't turn around and help him. So no, you're not. You don't stay true to each other. He says, no matter how the path winds or how steep it gets, again, Mountainside Pass. Left a guy up there to die. We face it with our hearts bigger than our feet. Advice? Ah, shit. And we just keep walking. Yeah, you do. Anybody needs your help, you just keep walking. Fuck them. So now Nori goes, I'm going to bring back my friend. The fat friend says, we've left enough people behind. Yeah, why are you all of a sudden changing that now? You've done it so many times. And then everybody just starts changing their tune. So Poppy says, I'll go with you. Then Goldie, her mother, says, I'll go with you too. And then Malva, who's completely changed her tune. You know the evil one that in episode 5 wanted to leave the Brandyfoots to die. She wanted to take their wheels off them so they would die. She's now all of a sudden like, nah, we need to get this guy back, even though previously I accused him of being evil, even though I'm evil myself. She's now completely changed her tune. And to make things worse, because she's basically saying, Sadak, you got to go because you're a path, whatever it was. You'll be able to find where he went. And then Sadak says, he said, let me see, let me make sure I get this right. Where are we? He says, Malva, it would be grand if you weren't right all the time. So when she advocated for you to take the Brandyfoot's wheels off them and leave them to die, she was actually right then. She was actually right, because you just said she's right all the time. So she was right then, okay. I'm telling you, they don't know what they've written on this show. They haven't got a Scooby what they've actually written. Because otherwise they wouldn't have slip-ups like this. It's like, no, she's not always right. She wanted to leave people to die in episode 5. So no, she's not always right, Sadak, you fucking idiot. So they're like, okay, I'll go. Because Malva said, it isn't, life ain't worth living without good living or something like that. So basically, they want to use Gandalf because he can make sure there's a load of crops and stuff there. Just want to use him. Fucking assholes. And then we get this part out of the trailer. I do have to point out, because I'm like, why is she walking like that? Why is she walking down that? Just walk normal! Just walk normal. But no. So they're off on their little adventure. Muriel's standing. It's like, you can't see Muriel. You can't go and sit down on your tiny boat that we're supposed to believe you fit 100 men and 100 horses on. No, didn't happen. Look how tiny that fucking ship is. So they're up here on the mountainside. Arondir says, do you believe she'll keep her promise, that being returning? Galadriel says, no, I'm certain of it. Oh, so you do believe then? Fucking hell, Arondir says, do you believe? Meaning, do you think they're going to come back? And Galadriel says, yes, I believe they're going to come back. But she says, no, I'm certain of it. It's like, no, that means the same thing. Means the same thing. Then Bronwyn shows up. She says, we're going to the mouth of the Anduin. The big river out of... we're going to get more repurposing things from Peter Jackson's trilogy. We're going to see the big men, the big Númenórean men. If they're there at this time, don't know. And Galadriel says, well, I'm going to report to Gil-galad. The elves are I'm going to face the brunt of... let's be honest, she's going to get in no trouble at all. Because Galadriel's allowed to do whatever she wants, when she wants. And then after being in this camp for at least a few hours, she now goes... no, Bronwyn mentions, the king, and Galadriel's like, the king. Galadriel, do you not remember? You wanted to bring that guy here to make sure he was king. Do you not remember Halbrand? No, you forgot about him. You didn't even think when you came in the camp. Oh, by the way, did Halbrand return? Thought he was your friend. Nah, not your friend. So, I want you to look at this. So, this is Halbrand in bed. He's clearly not doing well. He's on death's door almost. Galadriel says, oh, he needs elven medicine. So what they're going to do is, if I'll just read out, I don't know what went on in this scene. Yeah, she's just like, can he ride? No, he fucking can't. No, you can't ride with that. Sorry, you'll die riding like that. You will die. They're going to go and get elven medicine, which is about 2,000 miles away. With a man that is cut up like this. Okay. So he's like that in bed, and then in the very next scene, he walks out. Fine, he's fine. He can fucking ride a horse. He can ride a horse. Very easy. Very easy when you're wounded like that. You can just ride a horse for thousands of miles. Although in this show, it must only be just a little 10-minute walk down the road. So they get on their horses. All the people are inspired because their king is abandoning them. That's what he's done. Then Galadriel does the I don't need no sword. She lets Theo hold on to the sword, even though she might need the sword, considering she is going with a man that is half dead, that can somehow now ride a horse when he's on death's door. Okay. So they go straight to the Southlands, then they ride off. And then we get Deezer completely change it. You know, remember the woman that was like, stay for dinner. Well, she's now making power moves. She's now saying, that king is dumb as shit. That is supposed to be our power. We shall rule this place. She says, one day this will be your kingdom, and together, no we in this, darling, we'll rule this mountain and all others. That mithril belongs to us, to you and me. Fucking Palpatine enough for you. It really is. You've just completely changed what you are, Deezer. You're now fucking speaking dark shit into your husband's ear. So they kiss, and that's that. The king throws that leaf down into the chamber with the mithril. Can I see it? Where is it? Yeah, there it is there. So there's your member berries. Remember the Balrog? Remember Gandalf? That's what this scene is. And apparently, that's all we get of it. You're not going to see it in the next episode. Probably not going to see it till season 3, if it gets there. Hopefully it doesn't. Don't think it's going for... I don't think this show's going for 5 seasons, I'll tell you that. I think by season 3, they're just going to call it quits. So... then we finish off on Adar and the orcs and that being there. They're all shouting, Adar, ruler of the Southlands. He's like, no, that place doesn't exist anymore. So then what we get on the screen, we're gonna have to point this out, because the writers, the showrunners, they didn't think we understood this. They didn't think we know what this place was now called. So what they do is, let's have a little look. So it comes up the Southlands. We know it's the Southlands. We know what it is. So just keep watching. Just keep watching this. It has the big volcano there, by the way. So we don't know what it is. We don't know what this place is called. And then it burns on the screen, Mordor. Right, I knew that. Listen, I know the writers on the show are idiots, but we're not all that way. We're not all that way. We already knew it was Mordor. We seen it on a map. We already knew it was going to be Mordor. But you felt the need to write it on the screen. As if we're all fucking dumb as shit. We know it's Mordor. We know. We know. You gave us an origin to it. You gave us a fucking origin to Mordor, because that's what we needed. We needed an origin for a mountain, for a volcano. So after that, we're now at the end of the episode, but it's just hilarious. You felt the need to write that on the screen. Unbelievable. But that is the idiots you have working on this show. That is very obvious. But that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank fuck it's done. We've only got one episode to go. I'm looking forward to being done with it. I think once I finish episode 8, what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the Peter Jackson trilogy. To wipe this utter dog shit off me. That's what I need. That's what we all need. Just go and watch Peter Jackson's trilogy. Trust me. For the people that think this is amazing, go and watch fucking Peter Jackson's trilogy. Because there's nothing to like about this series. Absolutely nothing to like. It's similar to She-Hulk. The people that say they like it, I'm just like, you lying to us. You lying. Because that's what it comes across as. I'm like, there's nothing here. There's nothing. There is nothing here. It is for the non-thinking man. That's who it's for. That's who it's for. It's for, generally this is what Marvel TV series are for. But now it's went to it's not really Tolkien, is it? But it's now went to this as well, where it's for consumers. It's for the consumers. The ones with loads of O's in the word. It's those ones. That's who it's for. It's for people that don't fucking think. That's just what it is. I'm sorry. Don't want to be a dick. But that's just what it is. Because there's no way to defend this show. For anyone that is trying to defend this show, you have nothing to defend it with. The Amazon haven't given you anything to claim that the show is good, because it isn't good. It isn't good. Nothing happens. There's nothing worth defending about it. But people do. We live in an era where people do. Just whatever it is. No, just anything. I like everything. And it's just, I'm so glad House of the Dragon came out at the same time. Because House of the Dragon is fucking good. If you haven't seen up to episode 7, Jesus fucking Christ, what an episode. It shits all over this. There is no way you can possibly say this is good on the level of House of the Dragon, because it isn't. It's not even close. Not even close. So that would be my advice to people that are defending it. Go and watch House of the Dragon and then try and say that it's equal. It isn't. It isn't. House of the Dragon is good. It has characters. Every little character detail. A character doesn't have to say anything in House of the Dragon for you to figure out what they're thinking. We know that they have well developed the characters. They've pushed the plot along nicely, I might add. It may have been a bit slow to begin with. Not this fucking slow. Not this fucking slow. It didn't. It really didn't. So it's just hilarious to me. House of the Dragon is shat all over it. But I'm going to probably guess that Amazon are going to buy some awards. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have to buy some awards. But it's funny watching especially the media talk about this. They talk about these two shows, House of the Dragon and The Rings of Power, like they are equivalent to each other. They're not. One of them is good. One of them is complete dog shit. There's no getting away from that. There's no getting around it. Again, I have to keep using it so many times that this show is just objectively bad. That's what it is. There's no getting away from that. Again, it's another show where I'm very confident in saying that. Because it's just so easy to realise it. But we're going to finish off there because we went a bit longer than I thought we would. I thought we would have been done quickly with this episode. But yeah, all it pretty much is at this point is it's just roasting material. That's all it is. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing good about it. But there we have it. Episode 7. One more episode to go.